Technology and innovation may just be a solution to a myriad of problems in South Africa. New thinking is needed in the fields of healthcare, education and of course the economy. Now, Telkom and Wits University have teamed up to launch the Telkom Industry Solutions Lab. It aims to drive innovation in line with South Africa's digital innovation strategy. Let's find out more about this from Telkom's Dr. Mmaki Jantjies, who joins us this morning. Doc, thank you for your time this morning. And let's start broadly with the current strategy around innovation that's currently in place and how the labs will help advance what you're looking to achieve with this collaboration.
A very good morning and thank you so much for having me. I think at Telkom we've been quite conscious of the evolving sector of telecommunications and ICT as a whole. And one of the key ways in which we enable organic growth is through R&D. Our partnerships with universities have been quite long-standing. We have firm partnerships with several universities across South Africa. With this particular relationship with the Wits University, we took time to co-craft and co-create a research and development lab that will look at products and solutions that look at the challenges that our customers face today. I think the pandemic was an important awakening of the role that we can play as organizations beyond our core, which is reliable high-speed connectivity, and seeing how we can partner with organizations such as the Wits University to extend the role that we play in our society. So we essentially see the lab as a critical resource for us to look at challenges that face South Africans, our customers, enterprises, and looking at different sectors which we can play a role. But it also has a twofold benefit that we can have postgraduate students working on these challenges along with staff from Telkom, solving the challenges that face South Africans. And this becomes a very strong workforce pipeline for us, for people who will be the future workforce for the organization.
Maybe just elaborate a little further on the importance of this partnership and why Telkom chose to partner with institutions like Wits University to advance the addressing or the research around the issues faced by South Africans.
Universities are cradles of knowledge, and universities are known for being able to push the boundaries when it comes to creating new knowledge. As a telecommunications provider, in the ICT sector and as a group, we are always conscious of the evolving technology within the sector. And it's important for us to always note how the sector grows and how our customers also evolve within the sector. And so this collaboration is quite important for us because we reach out to key universities which are quite research intensive, which are also at the forefront of the changes within the sector and also are conscious of the challenges that South Africans face. And so the meeting of the minds to think about the broad challenges that South Africans face within education, within healthcare, and us as a telco provider seeing that with our resources, how do we think quite differently about South Africans? How do we think quite differently about how we service them? How do we ensure that we also tackle the greater challenges that society continues to face? And so this collaboration is very important in that creating new knowledge, coming with new products, new services, that speak to the South Africans, but also looking at how we continually train research students who have been an integral part of the Telkom Group ecosystem. So we've had similar relationships, long-standing relationships, and they've been quite beneficial for us in solving the problems of South Africans, but in also getting skill that is important to move us forward as an organization, sustainably so.
Over the last few years, Doc, there have been words that have been bandied about artificial intelligence, digital innovation, digitization. What kind of role do these components of the world that we currently live in play in advancing the needs of South Africans?
No, indeed. I think at the core of us as an organization, digital inclusion is very important. As we see the evolving technologies and how they impact different societies and communities, we find it integral that we are then at the forefront of creating the solutions that will enable people to be included within the technology sector. So what we're quite conscious of is not just enabling connectivity, but above and beyond the connectivity, how do we make sure that the technologies that we come out to speak to the everyday South Africans? A simple example that I can give is our natural language processing focus area, which looks at how, in terms of understanding African languages, we can use artificial intelligence for people to be able to communicate with technologies, understanding their accents and understanding their languages. So English is not just the focus for us. We want to say, how do South Africans interact with our chatbots, with our technologies, with an accent which is not English or American, and conscious of African languages enabled on technologies. That is just but one example of it. There are many projects that the lab embarks on. The projects have already started. So there are many projects that the lab embarks on, and these are at the core of South African needs across the country.
And I suppose apart from making sure that South Africans have access to what you've just described in their preferred language or interpretation, as you have mentioned, the access to resources to be able to access those components is also going to be important. And I suppose Telkom will play a part in making sure that that access is far-reaching.
I think for us, we have always been committed to ensuring, first of all, high-speed, reliable connectivity. But above and beyond that, I think access to resources, and I'll take, for example, the education sector. That's one of the key areas that projects will be based around, to say that how do we ensure that in schools there's access to digital resources that can enable learning. I think there was a lot of learning for us as an organization, working very closely with the education sector, looking at how schools were unable to access learning online. So we've looked at how do we enable digital resources online above and beyond the connectivity that schools and young children can be able to access. But how do we enable access to these resources on the cloud, enabling South Africans to affordably be able to access digital resources? So this is quite an important part. So there's a myriad of projects that we look at, and central to that is to think about how do we enable the digital inclusion of South Africans across the board.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for those insights. That's Telkom Group Executive for Innovation and the Transformation Office at Telkom, and that is